Well, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm gonna go through some quick things I see with GME and AMC. I'm probably gonna leave you for the weekend. Quick thing here is if you guys don't follow this guy, the great Matt Spee, we do these Tuesday live streams together with the Tesla Tracker on Tuesday evenings, and I highly recommend you to follow him. He's got these really great Gann charts here, and basically just showing you that this GME chart over here on the weekly has been following this angle support here for weeks now. After its parabolic move up and touched the angle over here, got rejected, it really came back down and really is holding this angle here pretty well. So because when it is a support, it does make me feel a little bit more bullish on it. And if I am looking at the daily chart on its own, what you can really see is during this big giant move up, all the way up to like 64 bucks, it was way outside the daily Bollinger Band. It's just simply unsustainable, and things have just been kind of gravitating back down here. I'm going to show you what kind of support I think that we currently are at right now, but I think that we're at pretty decent support. We have this kind of a trend line over here where we've just been having a hard time kind of breaking above 1, 2, and 3 times. And we're getting pretty close to testing this trend line here again, really over the next maybe a few days or so. We'll see what happens when we get there, but the volume is just super low. Like there's basically no volume. The reason why I even talk about GME right now, or AMC, matter of fact, is because the attention has really been shifted away from it when it really shouldn't be. And I'm going to kind of show you a little bit in terms of what I mean by that too. But the daily Bollinger Band is squeezing pretty hard. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have an immediate move up. The Bollinger Band can squeeze pretty tight for weeks and weeks. But I do think that whenever you have Bollinger Band squeeze right here, it's getting towards the end of this trend line over here, is either that is going to end up breaking above, or it's probably going to end up getting rejected and might end up going lower. Whereas how much lower is it going to go? Well, it could end up going lower to maybe like the 20 range. Or if it breaks above, you can go to like 30 in a hurry. We are going to find out pretty soon. I don't think that this low volume sideways trend is going to end up lasting for a very long time. I think something's probably going to end up happening pretty soon. On the weekly, it's been looking pretty healthy. I'm going to get rid of the Bollinger Band here, although you can see that initially it's just way outside of a Bollinger Band. That's like completely not sustainable. If you buy when price is way outside of a Bollinger Band like this candle over here, or like this candle over here, like you're basically just asking for short-term punishment, because usually you have some retracement down, especially when this is, even if this is like a longer-term bull trend, when you're buying stuff like that, when it's closing way above the upper Bollinger Band on the weekly chart, yeah, you're looking for short-term pain. But currently price just been going sideways over here, and there's no volume at all. And if you're asking me what kind of support is it holding it right now, I would show you the Super cloud over here. The Super cloud is a version of the Ichimoku cloud that takes into consideration the super trend. You have the bullish cross over here, and the super trend is still bullish. And right now, we've just been basically doing a little bit of a breakout here on high volume, and doing a little bit of back test here on the Super cloud as well as the Tenkan, and maybe a little bit of Kijun, the blue and red lines over here, on declining volume. And it's just been going sideways here on low volume. Can it go down further to 22 or maybe even 20? Possible, because if you don't look at the Subichi cloud, you just look at the regular Ichimoku cloud. The clouds underneath here down at like 20 bucks, right? 19.74 to be precise. So that's your risk level for GME. If it ends up getting rejected on that daily bear market support band, daily bear market diagonal resistance, then it could potentially come back down here, right? But again, look at the Gann, be bullish as support is kind of what I would say based on looking at the technical analysis. And currently, there's really no sign it's going to break out or up or down, because there's just no volume. Like all this is just junk right here. It doesn't really tell you one way or another in terms of what's happening. Now, if you ask me which way do I think the next move is going to go, and I've shown you this before too, I think that so far we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have about like 40 something inside candles over here from this big giant January candle. Every single candle after that has been inside of this candle or engulfed by this candle. when you have inside candles like this, what's going to happen next is generally a continuation of the primary trend. Now, what is the primary trend? The primary trend is going to be, I'm going to get rid of the Ichimoku cloud here. The primary trend is going to be up. Why do I say that? Because it just made a all-time high in January 2021, and it just made a higher low right here around April 2024. All of this are still inside this candle, and the trend is up, right? Up, higher high, down, higher low. What is the next logical place for it to go to? Would be to form a higher high, right? And I also want to show you something here too. I do believe, well, if you look at the whales, they're still there. It's still about like 50%. It's and the retails are leaving. There's a lot more traders coming in. I still think that this looks relatively bullish. And if you ask me, I still think that the chart's going to end up breaking above. And wherever it does that, it's going to be pretty powerful. I do want to say, like, you just kind of look at a comparison over here, right? In January 2021, and I'm going to put the Bollinger Band here to give you a little bit more context. The last GME move up, and there's no guarantee that this cycle is going to look the same, but if you look at just the last cycle, the last GME move up happened a few months before small caps really had broken out. And what I meant is that if I look at the IWM chart, which is the Russell 2000, you can see that it's probably just kind of consolidating sideways over here for months and months, right? And you have this big giant breakout candle here for IWM, for Russell 2000, for small cap stocks in general, right? This big giant breakout over here happened in November 2020, but price went sideways for about 3-4 months before that. If you look at GME, if you're comparing that November candle, like the November candle actually didn't really do too much, you know, but GME had went through a pretty massive run prior to that. Like it basically just 4x's the 3 months prior to that. The November candle does bring in some additional liquidity in, but price just simply can't get too far ahead, right? Until you're able to finally get the Bollinger Band expansion and you're able to finally get this very exhaustive move up here in January. So there is an initial uptrend for GME over here prior to that big giant candle for IWM, you know. Right now, what has happened for the 3 months prior, you have a couple of really powerful candles over here. You have some really powerful, you know, candles over here. And when IWM just kind of went sideways here, right? But GME already had front ran IWM here a little bit, just like how it did over here last, you know, cycle over here. I see this area over here to be more or less a little bit more equivalent to this area over here. And there's no guarantee that like 3 months later, there's no guarantee that, say, August, September, no, October, there's no guarantee that October is going to push all the way to like, you know, 2 or 3, 500. Like there's no guarantee of that happening, right? But it does seem like there is a lot of similarities that I see here. You can see the 20-month moving average here is a little bit flattening. You know, you can see the 20-month moving average here is a little bit flattening. You can see that price has really challenged the upper Bollinger Band here a couple times, you know. So I do wonder whether or not we're at an area here, and maybe over the next few months or so, is going to gravitate and it's going to build up a little more longer-term bull trend, because there is a lot of, you know, money printing that's still coming in. The money would probably end up going into like doing a lot of different kinds of short squeezes. I don't know. I mean, right now people are still getting, you know, like people are still laughing at those that are bullish on GME, you know, just like they've been laughing the entire downtrend here. But the trend actually doesn't look that bad to me. I don't know. I mean, like I don't like to. First of all, I initially had a stick. I just got tired of like the comments, things like that. I currently don't have a stick in GME, but I actually think that this chart looks pretty good. And if you want to play IWM, this might actually be a pretty, you know, potentially pretty decent chart to play with the similar levels of liquidity that might be coming in. So those are kind of my thoughts on GME. But if you look at the monthly Ichimoku, I mean, it's still underneath resistance, right? I would like to see, I think this area over here is kind of similar to this area over here. I would like to see it challenging the Tenkan Nikkei up on like the 30s, 40 range, somewhere around like 40 range. If it's able to get back to challenge that and flip that into support and also break through the cloud here, around like 60, I think like that's kind of where things got rejected last time, right? If it's able to form this, if this is really like the true higher low, and then 40 would be a resistance level. 48 would be another, like 48 to 50 would be another resistance level, and then 60 would be another resistance level. After that, I mean, yeah, like it can go up a lot higher. I don't know like how long it's gonna do it, but how long it's gonna take before it gets there. But that's kind of what it's looking like to me now. For AMC, for the longer term chart, I really can't be that bullish on it because it's still underneath a lot of key resistance, including the Tenkan here, and it's also still underneath like a very negative sloping 20-month moving average. It's still like way underneath of that, right? But if you look at a weekly time frame, the weekly time frame is telling you that there's a little bit of a different beast here going on. You actually have a pretty bullish look here on the weekly. Whales seem like they're coming in, and you have price currently above the bull market support band, and it's just been hovering around the bull market support band up here. It almost looks like a very, very big giant bull flag, although the flag has been going a little bit too long. Like it almost looks a little bit like a inverted head and shoulder look to it, and it looks like it wants to do something soon. It looks like the Bollinger Band is starting to kind of expand here. So in the short term, I'm actually leaning more bullish when it comes to AMC, whereas GME is maybe a little bit less certain, although I also am leaning bullish on GME as well. There are some things that are happening. I think there are going to be some short squeezes that are going to happen. And matter of fact, if you're going to have a look like that and things are going to get above the bull market support band here, then I think that whenever AMC decides to break out, it's probably going to go up to the upside. There's a lot of resistance over here, though, that is trying to basically eat into the supply. And I still think that the weekly consolidation here is allowing it to finally reclaim the Tenkan here. So essentially we've finally flipped this Tenkan here from resistance potentially back into support. Do I think that it's just going to move from here? Not necessarily, because you do have a thick weekly cloud over here too. But I wouldn't be surprised if it just takes a jab into the cloud, and then the sellers would, and it's going to be like way outside of the upper Bollinger Band, and sellers are going to come in, but the price could go up pretty crazy to like $10 and $12, kind of like how this wick over here, and then sellers would just come in and say, no, the technicals don't support this, slam. I can see this happening, but if you just look at the weekly chart, I'm not even showing you any fancy indicators or anything. It just formed a higher high. If you count this wick, fine. If you don't count the wick here, there's a high candle right there, right? Compared to this high over here. So it does look like it wants to do a little bit of trend reversal, and it is reclaiming bull market support band. So I cannot really be that bearish on it. It hasn't really reclaimed the bull market support band here for a couple of years now, So we'll see where AMC takes us, and I am leaning more bullish in the short term. And if I just take a look at the Bollinger Band here, it does look pretty squeezy here too. So I wonder if something very similar is going to happen to both AMC and GME over the next few days. And whenever that happens, we'll see what happens. But I just like the fact that like not many people are really talking about these stocks, just because that's what retail does, right? Like they get bored, and that's when you should really start to pay attention. I don't have a stick on AMC either. I just want to be able to talk about and educate and talk about technical analysis without being harassed. So I don't want to, just because I'm like a cat and talking about these stocks, like to have people like question, like I don't know anything. I'm just showing you technical analysis. I don't have any insider information. Unlike those people who have insider information, I don't have any insider information. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous to actually accuse any retail investors or traders for stock manipulation. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, I voiced it, but the moves are not going to be driven by retail, by the way. The moves are going to be driven by whales. So we'll see what the whales do when they come. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Bye.